Hi and welcome. Healing ceremonies. What are they and how can they help us? Well, joining me today on Spiritual Invitation is Gregory Besek, and he's here to tell us all about them. Now, a little bit about Gregory. In the spring of 1973, Gregory became a solitary monk while taking spiritual vows of poverty, celibacy, and spiritual obedience. In '89, he was ushered into the world of shamanism, where he studied directly under Michael Harner and many others from around the world, including one of the 13 indigenous grandmothers, Ama Bambo. Gregory opened the Center Pole, his teaching vehicle for shamanism, in 1994, and recently the Bodhi Tree, a physical space in Middletown for people to gather, learn, and practice their own spiritual disciplines. Welcome, Greg. So nice to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. You have such an impressive background. I mean, if
I'm just old.
No, you've done a lot, though. I mean, on your website, thecenterpole.com, I mean, it's got all your history and everything you offer, your services, your support groups, but you definitely walk the walk and walk the talk. I mean, you really have done your work, as we say, in the spiritual path.
Thank you.
You've definitely done it. So we're going to dig right in because we have so much to cover.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, but let's begin first with your spiritual journey. When did it begin for you?
I don't think I've ever not had a spiritual journey. It's just been, it's been there my whole life. I never questioned it. I was always close to nature. I was born out in nature in the woods, many acres around me. I loved church. I loved the images of Christ and stuff. And then I had a lot of spiritual experiences since I was a child. So for me, spirituality was more norm than even the physical world. I relied on it more.
So it's just part of your life.
Never been a question.
Right. Okay. Now, thank you. Healing ceremonies. What are they?
Healing ceremonies are very simple. A ceremony basically is a function of someone. You can do it yourself or do it with a group of people. It's a functioning of relinquishing to your own heart, to have integrity and to have the benefit for yourself and for all others that are involved. So we do it all the time throughout our days. We just don't understand what we're doing a lot of times, but we all like it. We like to give it, and we all like to receive it.
So, for instance, what are people not thinking of that they do during the day?
Well, a ceremony can be just something of when you go home at night and you kiss your wife, hello.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just something. It's a ritual that you do. But it can be much more elaborate than that also, and I think that's probably what we're talking about.
Yeah, but that's a nice thing to point out.
It's our nature. It's our nature, and I think this is what shamanic work has always been. It's about nature, about getting involved with our own heartfelt nature. And if we do that, everything else gets taken care of. So.
All right, so that's interesting that it can be something we can do ourselves or we can be part of a group. So do you offer both? People can just alone come to you? Or
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
I'll do healing ceremonies many times with people, individuals that come, or I can do them in a group.
All right. Why would somebody come to you? Like what are they feeling? Just something in their life needs to be healed?
Healed or explored. I think it's both. It's healing and exploring. Some people are not doing well, and they have a lot of confusion going on for them, and they don't see a path before them. But some people feel that I'm doing well, but I know there's more, and I need to see what that is. There's something, thrashing in my rib cage for release, in a way, and I'd like to explore that.
Now, you had on your website, you said a power healing ceremony for life-threatening illnesses, addictions, and confusion, like you just mentioned. So just walk us through, what would a ceremony look like?
Something like that, a power ceremony, like power healing ceremony, is for someone who's not doing well. Perhaps they have got some kind of life-threatening disease, or they're just really struggling, have a heavy-duty addiction. And so what I do with that, and this is the shamanic culture's way of healing in a group, is that you get family and friends around them, and you put them in the center of the circle, and have them lie still. And then we start raising energy. We do a lot of different things depending on who the person is. If they're Christian, we'll do a lot of Christian things, or Buddhist or Native American. We try to gear it towards them where they can open up their hearts, where they can feel at ease and receptive. And then we do our own personal healings. We do a group healing on them, and then personal healings on everybody comes, the friends and family come, and do a quick personal healing upon them. And it's been very effective and very beautiful, very healing for the people in the center, but also it gives the people who are always worried about them something that they can do too, something they can remember and hold on to.
And what do you hear? Like, what's the feedback you get when people will tell you in terms of how it benefited them?
Well, there's been some that have, their illnesses have vanished, they have gone, so that's been very wonderful. But, our thing is that we can't take credit or blame for it. Our intention is pure, and that's the basic thing we want to do. So yes, everybody, I don't know if anybody who has not loved it. I mean, people cry many times. A lot of times people just go into a very happy, blissful feeling, and they've received something. I think everybody receives stuff. When your heart is open and you're open for reception, we do receive. And so that's the whole thing about, there are times we need to give and there are times we need to receive. And sometimes people are ill because they're unable to receive sometimes, and so they always have to be the givers. We feel uncomfortable and weakened. We don't understand that it's also a grace to be able to receive, and that we have to ask for it when we're in need, because that helps balance things off. But shamanism is all balancing energy, balancing nature.
And what you said before, you raise the vibration, and what happens during the ceremony? Like, or are they all different? I mean, do you chant?
Usually we chant, we pray.
Okay.
We'll dance, we'll sing, we'll play instruments if we need to. A lot of times, they're customized towards the person who is in need. We want them, like if they're very Roman Catholic, we're not going to do so much a Native American ceremony. We'll do something that's more akin to their tradition, so they can relate to it. But we always expand it a little bit also. We need that people get out of their boxes, because healing happens outside the box, as we know.
Right. Yes. All right. Now, I also was very curious about, you have listed, you do a healing ceremony on a wounded family tree, wounded family tree ceremony. Tell us about that. So there's an issue, wounded family tree, meaning it could go back generations.
Yeah.
There's been an issue in the family.
Yeah, there's been an issue in the family. At some point, some family members had to say, "Let's stop it here. Let's stop the abuse." And so let's stop the traces. We call it the karmic traces that continue to follow the family. And the only way we can, the way we eradicate karma or sin or anything like that is we need to come into sacred space. Something larger than it, where it can dissolve. And so healing a family tree is something to do with that. Again, each group is different, but they have to be in a position to let go of the past, to see that they're not bound by their tradition, or even their own actions. Sometimes they've done some things in the past, they've hurt people. Sometimes they need to apologize for those things, but this is a circle. It's just like, let's heal this. Let's take responsibility for what we've done. Just say, forgive each other, and then how can we move forward? How can we empower ourselves to move forward and not carry this burden, this family curse? It seems.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking when you're describing it.
Sure.
It's like when people say it's like a curse.
It's like a curse.
Yes.
And so we start burning the seeds of karma by operating in sacred space, which is within our hearts.
All right, so it's whichever family members want to come, kind of thing.
Of course,
who's ever is into it.
Who's ever into it, because they're the ones that can be freed from it. The other ones who want to stay in the turmoil can stay in it if they want to.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Life
is a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, you have many more that you do, but I wanted to take a moment to talk about, you have a death and dying support group.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
It's yet to be launched, but I have it. It's a little technical difficulty with my space, with winter coming, and it's cold. But Death and Dying Workshop is planned to give people a space to get into the largest fear. Most of we don't think we have a spiritual life. We don't think we have it because we have fear about it. We have a fear that we won't know who we are if we let go of our own egocentricity. And so in a life of duality, we've got birth and death. But in truth, life always has been, is now, always shall be. And so it's a transitional state. There are many cultures, all cultures around the world deal with death in a certain way. Shamanically, we feel like we're not bound by ordinary reality, by 3 dimensions. We understand that all traditions feel like, you can have this spiritual life, which is beyond
once you physically die.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we explore, we have a thing called shamanic journeys. We try to explore what happens after death. We try to explore different ways to process. We try to explore understanding what the hindrances are that keep us in fear. And also, we will just, for people who are having difficulty with the death of someone that's dear to them, they can come and get supported. And, through these rituals, through these understandings, through prayer, through meditation, through actual, journey work, actually going into the dream time. And, all of spirituality always talks about the seers, the people who see. We were all seers. And that's a literal thing. If God is light, we have light inside of us. We know, we can see inside of us. We have visions, we dream at night. That means there's light there. It's like a movie screen going on. What happens when all these colors come together? And we know that white light is the source of all the different colors. And so how do we play in those colors? Can we play in them? Do we have a direction in those colors? Can we move it towards the oneness of all, the essence, which is white light, or however we see it? So all this comes into play. And, we're all going to go through it.
Yes.
One of my favorite places to walk in Middletown, from where I am, is a beautiful cemetery. And I walk through the cemetery all the time, and it's just a reminder that, yes, this is a reality. This is a reality. This transition is happening. So it's something that, it's empowering not to be afraid.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fear rules us,
Yeah, so that's what this is all about, that I want to have that space and to expand and explore.
And it'll be for people who either are in the process of dying or for
anything.
People that are losing someone.
A number of people have come to me in the dying process. They just, I'm a little afraid, I don't know what's happening. And so you would help them go in and try to alleviate their fears. And there's practical ways of doing this. It's just not like a belief. The belief has to be backed up by an experience. And that's what shamanism is. Shamanism is the mother of all spiritual life, but it's not as flowering. Shamanism is the foundation of spiritual life. We have to understand that everything is alive, everything has a spirit to it, and these things coordinate. And so we need to get into that and take a look at that and not be afraid of who we are and what's going on. We need to expand and explore in those areas. When you do that, you see that there's a much larger path ahead of you, which we call that illumination. You won't hear shamans talking about illumination, because most of their work is in the emotional, mental phase of things, balancing the spirits of nature with our own spirits. And so we're always consciously doing that. We need to do meditation, but mostly it's about working with the energies, with the sources of energy, the elements. And then shamanic work, at some point the labels start disintegrating, and we have to do away with the label. Actually, shaman is a word that comes from the Tunzik-speaking people of Siberia, and all the word means is to heat and to expand, to explore.
Really? Yeah.
It's really a verb and not a noun. So I know people call me, they call me a lot of names, but some people call me shaman and stuff. It's just like, it's a process. It's a process you enter. Anybody that has a spiritual life is actually expanding and exploring. So everyone does shamanism that has that kind of life.
Do you think of it, is it a religion?
No, it's not a religion. It's pre-religion. No.
It's pre-religion.
Yes,
Okay,
it gives you the
interesting.
experience to open up and see the different layers, the textures of life, inwardly. It's an involutionary path. We have an evolutionary path. I'm getting older, we want to evolve. But shamanic work is a spiritual tradition, and we go inwardly to understand our nature, where we come from, how things are put together, why things are needed, why someone needs to be unhealthy in order for someone to come heal them.
Right,
there's a balancing. There's a balancing of things. The people that come to help grow with an understanding, and so we need to extend ourselves out to people who are suffering. Sometimes we will suffer, and we will then be the opportunity for someone else to come towards us. It's not like we stand alone. It's like we stand in the matrix of all that there is. In the webbing, we call it grandmother spider's webbing. We stand in that. We're no high, we're not low, we're in with everybody, just trying to understand.
And the shaman helps the individual to look within, to discover what is they're looking for, what's missing, what is...
Yeah, so someone who has shamanic tendencies, has spiritual tendencies, starts seeing things that aren't... it's not an ordinary consciousness. It's a non-ordinary consciousness. We start seeing the subtleties of things. You start gaining insight. What starts happening for you is the things that are inside of you, in your essence, start coming forth, such as compassion. Compassion then can't be set aside because you feel it's nothing you acquire, it's something that you are. Your essence is everything we're looking for.
Yeah.
And yet we keep running away from it constantly. We think that it's going to be in a concert on Saturday night or whatever,
Yes.
But, or in a mate or in anything else tangible. It's not.
No. It's connecting to within.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the infinite. Yeah.
Was there one experience in your life that made you convinced that spiritual life is real?
No.
No.
No, I've had just, it's just since I was a child, it was just
real.
I just always saw, and I always knew. I always used to ride in the back of hawks. I just,
And what do you mean by that? Ride on the backs of hawks, like?
Well, literally, it was just like it was easy for me. I lived in the woods, and my farmer had chickens, and we had what we called chicken hawks, and they'd come down to attack. But I'd always loved laying underneath my large maple tree with straw in my mouth and looking up and popping on the back of those hawks and seeing what my neighbors were doing, what my cousins were doing. It just always seemed like a natural thing. I spent many times in the trees. Again, I was surrounded by hundreds of acres of land and in the ponds. And I always felt like I knew the animals. And it was never a question. When I went to church, that's when I prayed, and I went, there's my spot. It was just like, that's who I am.
Do you believe everyone can have a spiritual life?
Everyone has a spiritual life.
Whether they know it or not.
They know it or not, whether they can acknowledge it or not. You don't live by, bread alone.
Right.
There's everything we do is motivated.
Exists. Your essence exists. Are you in touch with it? Is that the bottom line?
Well, we're in touch with it. We just don't. Our minds kind of concretize everything. We concretize our religions. We concretize everything we do. This is the fact. This is the way it is. Until we realize later that maybe it wasn't a fact. But we will live and die by these things. And we will die. We die. We know wars are created over this delusion. So, but everybody, if you feel love in your heart, and everybody feels love, even the killer feels love. There's something in their lives that make them feel like, well, I'm going to kill because I'm going to feel something that I need to feel. We do everything for love. Whether we know it or not, or whether we act appropriately to bring it out or not is something else. But we all need that love. It's unreasonable love. It's a love that exists no matter what. It's beyond reason. It's beyond anything else. We call it unreasonable love. There's no reason. It just is. It's our source. And because we don't understand how duality functions, the duality of, if there's a duality, in order for something to live, something has to die. In order for something to be happy, there's someone else that's not going to be happy.
Right.
That's this duality. And it plays off of each other. We try to always, we try to balance it, and we can't. That's our frustration. So now I finally got that money. Now I'll be happy. No, you won't.
Yeah.
There'll be something else. Now I got that woman. Now I got that man. Now I got that job. I got that car. Now I'm happy. No, you won't. That's not what happiness is.
Yeah.
We say that our pleasure is sometimes we want a lot of pleasure, but that pleasure never brings us happiness because it's all ephemeral. It's all fleeting.
Right.
And so we're on this delusional trip that we have to awaken to and get off of and see really what's real. And that's the thing that'll pull us together.
And what do you think we're searching? I mean, for joy versus happiness?
Joy's in the heart.
Joy's in the heart, right? Yeah.
The Zen has a great saying, we're like fish in the ocean looking for water. This is it.
Yeah.
Just be quiet. Just feel it. If we could just at any moment think of something that we love or someone that we love, a child perhaps. I just got the phone with my grandchild last night, little Cora, and she's going, hi, Baba. She's calling me. That's instant love. But when she left, it was just like, I still have that love.
You still have it there.
It's
in your
not,
heart.
yes, there's love there, but like love is always present. Whether I bring the clouds around and try to cover it over and not pay attention to it. And this is the thing with meditation that people say they have a hard time with, is that they're more addicted to their minds than to their own hearts. And that's just something that we've got to correct, but meditation helps us do that.
Right.
Just be patient.
Yeah.
Love yourself.
Love yourself.
Yeah. So that you can love others.
Yeah. It's wonderful. We're getting towards the end, but can a Christian follow the shamanic path? Or does it, does it conflict in any way?
Not at all. Again, shamanism is a verb. It just has to be a foreign word.
And it's not a religion,
a Christian,
like you said,
Christ was a shaman, according to the way we look at things.
Okay.
Christ explored and expanded
That's
the
true.
Jewish tradition. He included more things and was love for everyone. He healed, but he healed just not physical beings, but not physical ailments, but also more so of the entanglements of the mind and the emotions, of where to put your mind. And he said, when his disciples asked him, what was the big commandment, the best commandment? He said, forget the 10, basically. The only commandment you need to realize is to love thy Lord, thy God, with thy whole heart, thy whole mind, thy whole soul. That's shamanism.
Okay. Yeah.
To expand and explore your heart. What? And what's within inside of you. That's everything.
Your heart, your mind.
Yeah. So yes, every religion. Shamanism is the mother of all religions because shamanism, when we start expanding, exploring, we have an experience. Out of that experience, structure evolves, but the experience comes first. So you have an experience of your love. You say, that's what I want. Then you're on that path.
Then you're on it.
Doing shamanic work, or you can call it whatever you want.
Right. Right.
I know on the screen it says Greg Besek shaman. I hear it's going, yeah, well, whatever. It's like you can't classify yourself.
Right.
That's a concretized type of concept that people have. That's one what are you, mystic? I don't know. What kind of, you have to use a word sometimes, so to convey something. But I don't feel I'm ever restricted by that, or anybody should be restricted by that. No, we don't have those kind of restrictions. I'm not, because I'm a lot of things to a lot of people. Some may be good, some may be bad, but it doesn't bother me. To me, my one connection is with that essence of my heart, what we call God, whatever you want to call it.
So simply, and helping others do the same. And that
comes out naturally. It's not like it's something that you have to try to do. If you're in touch with that love has certain attributes. And that happens naturally. So that's all you have to do is love thy Lord, thy God, with thy whole heart, thy whole mind, thy whole soul. First seek out the kingdom of heaven, which is within you, and who lives in the kingdom of heaven, you, God. Then everything else comes along. There's only one thing we have to do. It's very simple. It's not complicated. We don't have to learn all these sutras and all the scriptures and the gods. We don't have to learn all that.
Yeah.
We can, it's fine. It's fun, actually. But we don't have to.
Okay. Yeah. Look at this has been wonderful. I could talk to you all day. We're at the end. Just can you define spirituality? It is quick.
Yeah, spirituality is loving. It's loving and having boundaries.
Yeah.
Having proper boundaries, morals, integrity, and to go deeply into those and question what those are, see what that is for you, but continue to love.
Yeah.
Let go. Let go of, of your constructed ideas, the concretized ideas that we live by so much. Always let them be
Let it go.
fluid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust.
Be open and trust. Yeah.
Trust the process.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been wonderful being here.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And we're going to have Gregory's information up on the screen in just a moment. If you'd like to watch this episode again, you can. Just go to youtube.com, type my name into the search, and all the past episodes will come up. You can also go on my website at carlaaugustine.com. I want to thank you so much for watching. This has been Spiritual Invitation. I'm your host, Carla Augustine, inviting you to explore spirituality.